Shalom, shalom. Your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Campaign Trinidad with another edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Okay, so first and foremost, call Alahayanawa Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Makar Kodash Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahweh Shai Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahweh Shai Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders. A great milestone that will well. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth through all the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and the freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled blue Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat. Alright. All I could say is soon this nightmare that we in here, soon this nightmare will be over. Alright, soon this nightmare will be over. This nightmare of we living in this captivity. Alright. This nightmare of continual oppression that we are under, persecution that we are under. Alright. The sufferings and all these things, these things gonna come to an end pretty soon. Alright, we just had a whole faith. Alright, we just had a whole faith, we had to exercise that faith. And we can't let go, Alright, pretty soon we're gonna, according to let me get the scripture. Jeremiah 23. And I will start at verse 5, Jeremiah 23 and 5, where it reads, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. This is speaking of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. The one who will ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but nevertheless. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say the Lord liveth, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up, and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the country whither thou hast driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Alright. The point where I'm getting at, is that pretty soon we're going to witness this salvation. Alright, those who are part of the elect and live to see it firsthand, we're going to witness it, and when that takes place, that is going to be the end. That is going to be the end of our troubles. That is going to be the end of all what we've been going through. As the scripture says in Deuteronomy 32 and 7 now. Let me see. Bear with me. How you paraphrase that, boy? I will. What the hell do I put? these curses on your enemies. It's 30 and 7. Alright, let's go to that. Alright. Because the point where I'm getting at, is that these curses that we are under, that is having us in a chokehold, when we receive that salvation and in those new bodies and whatnot, so forth, that's going to be the end of all the disastrous experience that we've been having here on this side. Alright, I will start and let me see. I might have to start from 1. Yeah, I'll start from 1. Deuteronomy 30 and 1, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing, alright, and the curse, which means we had also go through the blessing, alright, which we did experience. We had a brief experience of the blessing, alright, under the leadership, under the stewardship of King David and King Solomon, peace be upon them. Alright. And afterwards, the curses start to really fall upon us heavy, especially here on this side of the hemisphere, this side of the world. Alright. Which I have said before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord, right? And shall return unto the Lord thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I commanded thee this day, that thou and thy children, alright, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, thy power, will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers, and the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and thine heart of thy seed, alright, to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee, and thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments which command thee this day. And the Lord will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. So the point where I'm getting at here with this scripture, is this is what we're waiting for. Alright. Because right now we're living in a nightmare. Alright, right now we as Israelites, especially us who in this truth, we living in a nightmare, in a total judgment nightmare. Alright? We are under nightmarish conditions. Alright? We are under nightmarish conditions, and especially us, as I said, who in this truth, sometimes we just feel like we can't take it no more, because it does, it does feel overbearing sometimes. But there's where how shy comes in. God, remember, he came to take away all our burdens, so we ought to rest our burdens upon him, come to him in prayer, supplication, fasting when possible, and keeping faith. Alright, because the scripture says, he that I ain't seen it. Yeah, right, good. Matthew 24 and 13. Let's go to that. I will come to the blue letter to get it in red letter. Matthew 24 and 13. Let me see, I might have to go a verse up to get a better context. I'll go straight to the point. Matthew 24 and 13, where it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Alright, the same will be saved once you endure. Alright, there's what I say, as much as we going through all these turmoil, alright, as much as we going through all this turmoil and whatnot, so forth, going through all this hardship and whatnot, so forth, we still have a duty to do, alright, which is to carry on, push, alright, push until the end, alright. We can't afford to give in and give out. We have to run this race. We have to continue, because this race is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and a marathon is based on not sprinting, not quickness, but actually endurance. All right, and hey, you know what? Let me go back to that Matthew 24 and 13, as I said that. Wow. By the Spirit. Wow. Come on, don't do me that. Right, to water Yahba Shemi Ashai.
Strong's G 5278. Upamano.
Wow. Alright, upameno. Alright, going to the word to endure. It says to remain. Alright, to remain. To tarry behind. To remain, i.e., abide, not recede or flee. Alright, so we can't run from this. Alright. The scripture speaks of is it John 6? Let me see if I can get that quick. I will come to this Bible up here. I think it's John 6 and 63, If it have let me see. I think it's John 6 and 63. No, let me come down some more. Let me see. Bear with me. Alright, I go type in that. I will paraphrase it in the shortest form. Alright. It's John 9 and 62. John 9 and 62. John 9 and 62. It's Luke. What the hell are you saying, John? I so my mind so focused on John. It's Luke 9 and 62. Luke 9, not John. Luke 9. and 62. Because I know it was the last verse in that particular chapter. All right, so Luke 9 and 62 it reads, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hands to the plow, all right, and looking back is fit for the kingdom. So, all right, no man that having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. So going back to the etymology, the meanings pursuant to endure, where it says to remain, all right, to remain, to tarry behind, to remain, i.e. abide, not recede or flee. All right, we ought to stand firm despite of what, because at the end of the day, we have a prize at the end of this. As I say, yes, we under nightmarish conditions. I going through my own demons, my own battles, and what have you, so forth, but I had a fight. I can't afford to give up. And all these things is just, as the scripture said, to, endure hardness as a soldier. All these things, it should just train us, train us mentally, physically, too, spiritually, most importantly, to carry on, especially when the tough gets going. All right, it says to persevere. All right, to persevere under misfortunes and trials, to hold fast to one's faith in Hamashiach, to endure, bear bravely and calmly, all right, ill treatments. I wonder what more etymologies are to see here pursuant to it. All right, this goes into, all right, position, hypo position.
Strong's G 5259. Hupa.
All right, hupa. All right, by under position, and this is the we under this is the position that we under when you really check it out. All right, by under, all right, what goes into position. This is the position that we under. We are under a position, where it could be strenuous at times. This walk wasn't promised to be an easy walk in our bed of roses. The scripture talk, wow, scripture's just coming to my head, which is and I'm sure while I'm going through this, and anybody who listening, the same sentiment of scriptures will come to the head. Sirach 2:1, where it reads, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, prepare thy soul for temptation. Alright, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Alright, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end, and whatsoever is brought upon thee, take it cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So sometimes, as I say, it could be daunting. Alright, but we had to endure. And we're going to go through trials, we're going to go through tribulation, we're going to go through temptations. Temptation might come in all forms. Temptation might come in a form of you looking to leave the truth altogether. Boy, this thing I going through too much here, this thing is too much for me, and what have you, so forth. I think it's better I leave this here, because this is too much for me. I can't bear this no longer. And before you know it, you're out. Right? But the scripture say when you come to serve the Lord, these are the things you have to go through. It wasn't promised to be a bed of roses. Some might have it, some might have harder trials, and some, but we all had to go through trials. Yes, the curse is heavy upon us. Alright, the curses is heavy upon us. It is. The curses heavy upon some it may be heavy on some more than others, but nevertheless, at the end of it all, we all going through the curses in some way, some form, some fashion. You understand? And there's something for myself and all too. To put in remembrance, to teach myself, to always reflect on from time to time too. You have to teach yourself first before you teach others. Alright? But yeah, there's where it is. Alright, you have to constantly endure. There's a real messed up situation where you're seeing servants on horses. Alright, you're seeing servants on horses and princes on the ground. But pretty soon, everything pursuant to Deuteronomy 30 and 7, which we had read earlier on, the Lord is going to switch everything and put us back where we belong. Alright? What the scripture saying, Luke? The scripture saying Luke 1:68 a little while and go to the scripture. I used to frequent the scripture, boy. Luke 1:68, where it read, "Blessed be the Lord power of Israel, alright, for he had visited and redeemed his people." Alright, he had visited and redeemed his people, and had raised up an horn of salvation in the house of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which had been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Yeah. This is why the salvation that we're going to receive is going to eclipse. It's going to literally eclipse. It's going to blot out and block out. Alright, the salvation that we had received, from the Egyptian captivity. Alright, because this salvation, is a salvation that is going to be taking place through the four corners of the earth, mainly in America, but through the four corners of the earth, and in a way that the earth has never seen before. Alright, as the scripture say, I will come back to the scripture here. There is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. And I'll start at verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. That is the enemies in which we have been scattered among the nations. When they shall see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond that they looked for. Alright, because they're not expected. The heathen, the nations, only the elites, the mighty elites, they know. Alright, pursuant to the chariots and whatnot, so forth, they know that is, the chariots of the Lord and what have you. Alright. They know that is the vehicles of the Lord, the so-called UFOs and what have you, so forth. And they know that is being driven by the angels and powered by the Most High. And they know that is going to enter into the house of the thief and bring forth destruction upon the thief, but also salvation unto the elect. Alright, but also salvation unto the elect. Alright. And, with this happening, it's going to be a joyous moment for the elect. Yeah? So going back to the Luke 1:68, actually I think I reached verse 70. Alright. Actually, it was 71. I read over verse 71, Luke 1 and 71, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Because as I was saying, when these nations see this, they're going to be affrighted. They're going to be, trembling. But joy is going to be within our hearts. The nightmare is finally over. Alright? As my brother Howard, you have a song, I can't remember the exact words, but part of the lyrics was, wake up in the chariots, he thought it was a dream, something to that effect, Because I think that is part of the scriptures, something to that effect, when the salvation will be so surreal. The salvation will be so surreal that looking back at all that we had was to endure, all that we was going through and all these things, alright, it will be like if it was a nightmare to us, and we actually wake up from a nightmare and, it was just a dream and we was always living in paradise. That kind of effect, that kind of way. Yeah. Alright. It says, verse 72, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we being delivered out of the hands of our enemies might serve him without fear, alright, serve him without fear and in holiness and righteousness before him, alright, all the days of our life. Alright, and this is what we're looking forward to. Because in this part, this realm that we're living in, alright, where the wicked is in power, the wicked is in rulership and what have you, so forth, he is making sure and exact the curses upon us to the fullest. And as the scriptures, and the heathen, they ain't backward neither. The rest of the heathen, they ain't backward neither, because the scriptures say, let me see. Alright. It's Zechariah 1 and 15. Let's get that. Zechariah 1 and 15. Alright. The heathens ain't backward neither. Alright. Zechariah 1 and 15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Alright. Hey, we're going through persecution under these Elamites here in Trinidad. We're going through persecution under Esau. We're going through persecution under Ishmael. Alright. Under Ham. Alright, we're going through persecution under all these nations, man. Under Moab, under Ammon. Alright. We're just going through these persecutions under these nations, right? They help forward in the affliction, man. Because, hey, what the scriptures say that the name of Israel, they all come together with, in one conglomerate, in one, the crafty council, all right, and league, all right, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's where it is. So, with that in mind, any time, any way, anyhow possible to bring forth, calamity upon Jake, when the opportunity arises, they will do it. All right. This is why we praying that the Lord bring an end. Bring an end to this whole nightmare situation. And it's going to take place. The scripture talk about somewhere in Revelation, I think it's Revelation 20 or 21 or something like that. Nevertheless, I will wipe away every tear. Revelation 21:4. Let's go to that. Revelation 21. Revelation 21 and verse 4. But let me see. Alright, I will start from verse 1. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Alright, a new heaven, alright, which is rulership, a new rulership, and a new earth, as in the earth being refreshed. The earth abided forever, alright, but the earth is going to be refreshed, alright, the earth is going to be refreshed, alright, no more wicked ruling, no more wicked rulership, no more wicked practices upon the face of the earth and what have you, so forth. You're going to have things such as land Sabbath and all these things, alright, no more deforestation. Alright, the animals is going to be living in peace and harmony. Alright, no more persecution on the animals and what have you, so forth, for their greedy gain. Everything is going to be in order, everything is going to be in harmony, everything is going to be in peace. Alright, and the first earth will pass away, and there will no more sea, as in there will no more nations to rise up against the children of Israel. Alright, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven. Alright, that is the elect coming down from the chariots, from the so-called UFO, after the great destruction and what have you, so forth. Alright, to take their positions as the rightful rulers upon the face of the earth, and prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, alright, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them and be their power. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall wipe away all tears from the eyes, from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Because why? The curses will be lifted away. Alright, there's a scripture also that says it in Revelation. Alright, let me see if I could get it. And there will be no more curse. And there will be no more. Right, look at here. Revelation 22:3. Alright, so what the hell do I? Revelation 22:3. Alright. Revelation 22:3, going straight to the point. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahweh and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. So yeah, so when I go back to the 21 and verse 4, where it says, and Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from the eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. This is the curses. This is the curses. Because all these things that we are experiencing is because of the curses, because of our disobedience from the Most High. Alright? Because of sin. So basically, basically, which goes back to Hebrews. Tawada Yahweh Hashem Yahshai for just sending these precepts to my head. Hebrews 8 and 8. Tawada Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Alright. Hebrews 8 and 8. I will start from I will start from 8, the point. I'll go all the way up, but I will start from 8 for time's sake. Hebrews 8 and 8, where it reads, for finding fault with them. Who is it them? Our ancestors. Alright. He said, behold, the days come, say the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Alright. It has nothing here speaking of the whole world. But we in the new covenant, and the new covenant is for the whole world and all that bull crap. That's nonsense. Alright, that's lies. The new covenant that is going to be made is with the children of Israel, the house of Judah and the house of Ephraim. Alright, which will be joined together in one and be, as it was from the beginning, the nation of Israel, not the state of Israel with those rats over there who claim to be Jews but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Alright, those liars, those imposters. Alright, but with the true children of Israel, which is you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Alright, so as it says, not according to the covenant I made with their fathers in the day when I took them, alright, by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant and regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. Alright, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, all Israel shall know me, from the least to the greatest. So yeah, alright, and the only way how this could come about, is us getting, this new covenant is us getting the new bodies and what have you, so forth, and him writing the laws, the commandments, the statutes, everything within us, so that we would not sin anymore. And this is how the tears and the death and the sorrow and all these things is going to be taken away from us. This is how the curses is going to be taken away. Alright? This is how the curses is going to be taken away. And this is where now, we wouldn't be living in this nightmarish condition that we're living in right now. There's what it is. Do you understand? This is what it is. This is what it is. Alright? Because this being a situation that we just can't wait for this. I mean, we had to wait, but just figure of speech, we can't wait. Because this place is hell. Living in this world that we're living in right now under the rulership of the wicked. Alright? And being afflicted even more by the heathen nation, by the rest of the heathen nations, alright, is hell. This is hell. Working for these heathen nations for minimum wage and all that nonsense is hell. Being persecuted by these heathen nations on the job site and whatnot, that is hell. Paying bills is hell. Yeah? Being subjected to payments, paying bills is hell. That's living under hell. Hell ain't no flipping place where you're underground and with a lake of fire underground, and a man with a red suit and two horns on his head and pitchfork in his hand and whatnot, so forth, and you're burning forever. That's Christian dogma. That's lies. Right now, us Jakes, we are in hell. Us so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native American Indians, we are in hell. Alright, we are in hell. And the sooner you all get to realize that, is the better for us here. That, we could get out of this place here as quick as possible. But we are in hell. There is no two ways about it. The so-called white man, especially they are in heaven. Alright, they are in heaven because they are the ones that is ruling. They are the ones that is calling the shots. They are the ones that is in control. They are the ones that is controlling everything. Look at the direction that they are bringing the world towards. What does that shows you? They are in their heaven. And their heaven is our hell. The so-called white man's heaven is our hell. Yeah? Their heaven is our hell, and all they're just doing is, hey, look, hey. The food. The food that we eating is not even look, GMO foods and all that bag of bull crap. Yeah? Till we body deteriorating on a rapid rate. That's hell. Living in this body, living in this flesh is hell. Because you're prone to sin. You've always fallen short in some way, some form, some fashion. Alright? This is hell, man. And we need to get out of here. But we had to wait. We had to endure. You understand? We can't take matters into our own hand and say we're going to bring ourselves salvation. We cannot be self-will in this thing here. No. We had to strive. As the scripture say, as the scripture says, I say that strive for the truth unto death. That is Sirach 4:28. Let's go to that. Sirach 4:28. Sirach 4:28, it reads what? Strive for the truth. Alright? Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Alright? Strive for the truth unto death. We have to continue. We have to push. We have to push. That is what it is here. Alright? We got to push, man. This nightmare is going to be over pretty soon. It's going to be over. The Lord is going to turn the curses upon them. Hey. Lamentations 4:20. Perfect example, and this will be the last scripture. Alright? Actually 21. Lamentations 4:21, it reads, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Yeah, the so-called white man. Alright, the Edomites that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall be what? The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. Alright, so the same cup that we had was to drink of, even down to the dregs, is going to be passed unto Esau and all the heathens. But Esau is going to drink unto the dregs. Esau is going to actually drink down to the dregs and still pass his finger in the cup to wipe the residue, and then put his finger in his mouth and suck it off. Yeah? Esau is going to drink down to the dregs. The so-called white man is going to drink down to the dregs. When the Lord pass that cup unto him, they are going to drink down to the dregs. And when there is no more dregs, the Lord is still going to make them to pass their finger in the cup and wipe whatever residue that remains and let them put it in their mouths and suck it off. This is what awaits you, Esau. Yeah? Thine punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. This nightmare is almost over. It's almost over. He will what? He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will what? He will discover thy sins. So let's hold on and endure. Don't flee. Alright? This nightmare almost over. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep praying. Keep in faith. Do all that you could do just to make it out of this wicked hellhole that we in here right now. Your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp, signing out, saying Kal Halayam La Alahayanawa Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kodash Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai Barakata Yahweh Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwad at listening and learning. Until then, we say shalom, Yasharallah, shalom.